Welcome back to CAN, Caribbean Affiliate News. My name is Siobhan Gobin. This segment of the news is sponsored by TravelSpan Vacations. The Bermuda government has responded to the island being listed along with two other British territories, the British Virgin Islands and Jersey, as tax havens by France, meaning the three territories will be subject to tougher tax policies applied by the French government. A spokesperson for Bermuda said, and I quote, "The government of Bermuda is surprised by reports that the territory is to be included in France's list of offshore financial centers with which France has issues, particularly as Bermuda has an existing exchange of information agreement with France, one of 39 bilateral transparency agreements Bermuda has, including with 90% of the G20 countries." Bermuda is also vice chair of the steering group for the OECD Global Forum on Transparency and Exchange of Information for Tax Purposes. Bermuda's Ministry of Finance has contacted officials within the French government seeking clarification regarding this action and stating Bermuda's position as they seek to resolve this issue. Bermuda anticipates all of its internal processes for automatic exchange of information, instruments such as US and UK FATCA IGA Model 2, and the multilateral convention will be completed by the end of September of this year, and envisages any entry on France's list will therefore be very short-lived or never happen if in fact that list is to be effective later than 2013. Bermuda has stated publicly that it supports the proposed G5 EU multilateral pilot based on US FATCA and will sign on when the multilateral exchange of information pilot is ready for adoption. More generally, Bermuda is recognized as complying with the highest international standards on tax transparency and compliance. Bermuda recently underwent a combined Phase 1 and Phase 2 OECD assessment, which was very positive and determined that the territory not only has the legislative procedures in place, but has an active exchange of information regime in place with its tax treaty partners. On Wednesday, the Turks and Caicos Islands government peacefully re-entered Progress House, the ruling Progressive National Party headquarters building in Providenciales, and changed the locks to recover possession of the land. This follows a Supreme Court ruling on the 12th of July confirming that the land has always been and remains Crown land. The property was empty when the locks were changed. In July, the TCI Supreme Court ruled in the government's favor, giving judgment against the PNP in relation to an application by the Attorney General to recover the land on which the party's headquarters building had been constructed. The court, dismissing the PNP's argument that it was entitled to the parcel in question, held that, and I quote, "The only possible conclusion is that the beneficial and legal interest in the land was always and remains in the Crown," end of quote. Judge Ramsey Hale, giving the court's judgment, rejected the evidence of Floyd Hall, former deputy leader of the PNP and deputy premier of the PNP government in 2006 to 2007. Hall was the primary witness in support of the PNP's defense to the TCI's government's claim for the land. Hall gave evidence that he mistakenly believed that the PNP had a lease of the land. The judge rejected Hall's evidence. In other findings in the case, the judge also determined that the PNP, as an unincorporated association, has no legal personality and cannot sue or be sued. She therefore determined that the claims for damages could not be pursued against the PNP as a body or Trevor Cook, the chairman of the PNP, since it had not been shown that he personally was a trespasser, nor was he deemed by the court to be legally representative of all the PNP members. Premier Rufus Ewing, the leader of the PNP, confirmed that he and the cabinet ministers were advised by Brathwaite of the action taken during a cabinet meeting on Wednesday morning. The Bahamas government says it remains committed to the prevention of human trafficking, describing it as one of the fastest growing criminal industries in the country. National Security Minister Bernard J. Notage, addressing the launch of the International Organization for Migration, Technical Skills, Training in Human Trafficking, said, "Human trafficking was an obscure activity with little known and little being understood that was silently festering within our country." The Bahamas in recent months has had to deal with illegal immigration from Haiti and Cuba, and officials said the training program seeks to build capacity and transfer basic technological skills to the country's already established National Task Force on Trafficking in Persons. They said it would enable the authorities to obtain a greater understanding and appreciation of their role in seeking to combat trafficking in persons in all of its manifestations in the country. Notich acknowledged that over the years, successive governments have had to deal with an institution of illegal migration that has brought on by incessant human smuggling activities. He said the government was taking proactive steps to combat the problem of trafficking in persons before it becomes ingrained in the society. And I quote, "We are sending a clear message to the criminals who engage in this nefarious activity that they will find no safe haven in the Bahamas. We will put all forces into place to root out the perpetrators of this evil crime from whatever they are and prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law," he says. Notich said the Perry Christie government has partnered with the IOM to conduct a 36-month project designed to strengthen its institutional capacity to respond effectively to the crime of human trafficking. A second training is set for October of this year and will be conducted primarily as a training of trainers program. It will prepare task force members to train others in their organizations on trafficking in persons. The Bahamas is a signatory to the United Nations Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime, and according to the United Nations Office on Drugs Global Report on Trafficking in Persons of 2012, nearly 140 different nationalities were trafficked and 118 cases detected in 2012. The figures show women account for 55 to 60% of the victims, with child victims growing. He says that human trafficking is now one of the fastest growing criminal industries, adding that the government of the Bahamas reaffirms its commitment to working towards the prevention of human trafficking, the prosecution of perpetrators, and the protection of the victims of these heinous crimes. In Antigua, Police Commissioner Vera Brown and Dane Hamilton, the attorney representing former Financial Services Regulatory Commission, Chief Executive Officer Leroy King, have accused Minister of Finance Harold Lavelle of acting irresponsibly by claiming on radio that King has breached his bail conditions. Minister Lavelle said yesterday on Observer AM he has seen King on more than one occasion unaccompanied by either of his sureties in contravention of the court order. King is fighting extradition to the United States, where he's accused of facilitating the $7 billion U.S. Ponzi scheme orchestrated by convicted former Texan billionaire R. Alan Stanford. Commissioner Brown, who crossed swords with the minister when he called into the radio program, said, "If King is breaching his bail conditions and anyone sees that, they should call the police." Brown also told Lavelle that he was ignorant of the bail conditions and should have researched the matter before commenting publicly. He chided Lavelle, telling him he expected a higher standard of conduct from him as an attorney and a parliamentarian. Hamilton, too, said the minister ought to have ascertained the facts before making the claim. The attorney said one of King's bail conditions, originally set by former Chief Magistrate Ivan Walters, disallowed him from leaving his home without one of his two sureties, Claude Weaver or Bernard Percival, unless it was to seek emergency medical attention. Hamilton, however, noted that the condition was relaxed by the High Court after the former CEO was committed to be extradited to the United States to face trial on several counts of fraud. King is currently awaiting an appeal hearing regarding his extradition. Last year, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Prime Minister Baldwin Spencer, signed a warrant for him to be extradited to the U.S. You're watching Caribbean Affiliate News. Stay tuned.
Excuse me, if you see me smiling, that's 'cause I'm chilling on Total Caribbean Network. your boy Wyclef Jean, man, and I'm chilling, man. Total Caribbean Network. Man, I love their style. Whoa, 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 whoa.